The future of work isn't some far-off thing anymore. It's coming at us, and it's coming fast. All these experts are dropping these massive, like 500-page reports that predict exactly what the workplace is going to look like in 2026. And yeah, they're packed with amazing data, but let's be real. Who has the time for that? Seriously, these documents are super important, but they're also just a huge wall of text. Trying to pull out the key stuff for your own career or your business, that's practically a full-time job right there. So I did the hard part for you. I took all those dense reports, fed them straight into an AI called NotebookLM, and basically told it, distill this down to what actually matters for 2026. And the results? Well, they're pretty fascinating, maybe a little scary, and definitely something you need to see. So let's dive in. All right, so what did the AI actually find? Well, our main guide for this journey is something called the Workplace Intelligence Forecast for 2026. Think of it as a deep dive into all the forces that are building a completely new professional world right under our feet. And just so we're clear, this isn't just one company's hot take. Nope. This report pulls together data from dozens of different sources to paint this really vivid picture of what's just around the corner. And spoiler alert, that picture is all about massive, unavoidable change. Realignment, consolidation, and disruption. I mean, that's the opening shot right there. Those three words pretty much set a dramatic stage for everything we're about to unpack. So let's start with the biggest disruptor of them all, shall we? Okay, it's no shock that AI is at the center of all this. But what's truly mind-blowing is the sheer scale and speed of its impact. It's not just a little ripple. It's a shockwave that is literally rewriting the entire rulebook for the job market. Just let that number sink in for a second. 12 million. That's how many workers in the US might have to completely change what they do for a living by 2030, mostly because of AI. And listen, this isn't about factory jobs anymore. The report is super clear. White-collar, entry-level jobs in fields like finance, law, and admin are right in the crosshairs. But here's where it gets really interesting. At the exact same time that AI is automating office work, it's sparking this huge comeback for blue-collar careers. We're talking electricians, welders, HVAC techs, jobs you just can't outsource to an algorithm. Demand for these skills is absolutely booming, wages are climbing, and even Gen Z is starting to pay attention, with almost half of them now considering trade school instead of a 4-year degree. Wild, right? So all this change is creating this massive skills gap. AI is becoming totally essential, right? But get this. 3 out of every 4 employees say they feel completely unprepared to actually use it. This isn't just about not having the right software, it's a full-blown crisis of confidence and competence, and it's happening right now. And that crisis is starting to create some serious resentment. A huge 72% of workers feel like AI is just being forced on them with zero proper training. So this isn't some smooth, easy tech rollout. It's actually creating a deep divide in the workforce between the AI haves and have-nots. And you can really feel that tension building. Now let's layer something else on top of that AI shockwave. A really intense economic pressure cooker. We've got a slowing economy, we've got corporate restructuring, and it's all forcing both companies and employees into a new reality that's all about one single phrase: do more with less. And that pressure, it's hitting people in the middle the absolute hardest. With all the hiring freezes, 62% of managers say their workloads are just exploding because they're having to pick up the slack from eliminated roles. They are literally trapped between their nervous teams on one side and cost-cutting executives on the other. And at the very same time, the cost of basic things like benefits is just soaring. Employer spending on healthcare jumped 7% last year. That's the fastest it has grown in more than a decade. That puts a huge strain on the companies, and you know what it means for workers? Higher premiums and bigger deductibles. And that squeeze is hitting people at home, and it's hitting them hard. Childcare costs jumped another 10%. That is immense pressure on working parents, and especially on mothers. When you add that to these rigid return-to-office policies, we're actually seeing a shocking reversal of the progress that women have made in the workplace. So what you have is this perfect storm, right? You've got massive technological disruption crashing into intense economic pressure. It's a brand new, kind of chaotic world. So the final piece of this 2026 puzzle is the frantic race to actually write the rules for it. And this is the critical question, isn't it? As AI is busy rewriting our entire economy, governments are scrambling to put up some guardrails. The problem? They're all building them in different ways, which is creating this incredibly confusing and fractured mess for pretty much every business out there. So if you look at the two biggest players, the European Union and the United States, they've taken completely different paths. The EU went for this big, comprehensive, top-down law called the AI Act. The US, on the other hand, is kind of sticking to its old playbook, a more patchwork, sector-by-sector approach, just hoping that existing agencies can apply old rules to this brand new tech. And wow, this slide just lays it all out plain as day. Look at the EU side. You've got this comprehensive law, a formal 4-tier risk system, a central AI office, and look at those penalties, up to 7% of a company's global turnover. Now compare that to the US. No formal system, enforcement by a bunch of different agencies, and much, much lower penalties. If you're a global company, this isn't just a legal detail, it's a massive strategic headache. Okay, that was a lot of chaos and disruption to take in. So let's bring it all home. What does all of this actually mean? What are the big takeaways for your career, for your business, as we head into 2026? It really just boils down to 3 fundamental truths for 2026. Number 1, AI is the new literacy. Simple as that. If you're not constantly learning how to use these tools, you are falling behind. Second, resilience is your new resume. The economic squeeze means your ability to adapt and perform under pressure is probably your most valuable asset. And third, in a world full of deepfakes and disruption, trust is the only currency that matters. Being transparent and fair isn't just a nice-to-have anymore, it's how you're going to win. So I think the biggest takeaway from all of this is pretty simple. 2026 isn't some distant date on a calendar. It's already happening. The disruption, the pressure, the new rules, they are all here, right now. So the only real question left is, are you ready?